I have in front of me here the new Triax UniLink Kit. This is a clever little product, okay? Before I actually get into what's in it, I'm going to give a quick overview of why you'd use this. You'd often have a situation where you have a signal, for instance, running from the skybox that we have set up here over to a television here, and we're just running it with an RF cable. So it runs out there, and if you look in the back of the television here, an RF cable runs in. So it runs from the RF output directly over to the second location, right? In here, and if we flick to that channel on our television, we can actually come along and we can see the output directly onto this. So it's never really mentioned, and people might have reflected on it in the past, but the key point here is the reason this works is this is an analog tuner here. A lot of televisions that came out in the last few years had analog and digital tuners to get ready for the digital changeover. But what's happening now is a huge number of televisions only have digital tuners. So it means that it'll work perfectly with the new Selector signal. If you have a set-top box or a satellite set-top box or a camera system or something like that that's feeding through an RF system, it won't work if it's just an RF thing because the television won't be able to read it. So what Triax have done is they've developed the UniLink to come along and convert the RF signal into either a SCART output or an RCA output, which can be fed directly into the television. So it's the exact opposite of another product that Triax do, which is called a Trilink, which converts SCART into RF. This converts RF into SCART normally. So what we're going to do is just give an overview of what's in it, and I'm going to give a demonstration of how it's set this up. So we have the UniLink unit here itself. The key points are, in terms of the input, we have the RF signal coming in here, and it's marked RF in. We have an output here, which we're really only using normally for you running it to a SkyEye to allow the remote control. So if it's something like a skybox that has a 9-volt signal coming out of it, we can actually stick a SkyEye on it, and we can actually control and change the channels of the skybox from a remote location, i.e. the second television. In terms of what channel are we looking for? Well, the UHF spectrum is made up from channel 21 all the way up to channel 69. And what we're doing here is just these channel selectors. So in this case, we have the box set to channel 21, which I know my skybox is set to. So it's 2 here and 1 here, channel 21. So I'll demonstrate this in a moment on the skybox, how we know this. In terms of them, when it comes to the outputs, we have a SCART output here, which you can feed directly to television. We'll be using this output in our demonstration in a few moments. We have the RCA output, so you can just use an RCA lead rather than the SCART lead. We have an on-off switch here, if you want to turn this unit on or not. And also then what we have is we have a power input here and an LED light indicator to say if there's power going to the unit. So what I'm going to do next is, I just might move slightly off camera for a moment, but you can just focus on the table here. So we'll just look at this unit here itself, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up the remote control, and I'm just going to hit the services button. Then I'm going to go to option 4, and then 0, 1, select. And now I'm into the installation menu here. So I can see in this skybox RF outlets, and we'll see we have the output set to channel 21. So I know that's the frequency that this skybox is broadcasting on RF. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to disconnect this cable here. So now we have no signal going to the television, and I'm going to try to reinstall the signal using this lead here. So what I have here is this simple lead, which I'm just going to connect to the RF2 output here. This is the one that carries a 9-volt signal. I'm going to connect it in here. I'm just going to push this television slightly forward. I'm going to pick up my UniLink and my power unit. So I'm going to plug the power unit in here, and I'm going to power it into this DC in connection here. So I'll just grab this and I'll screw it on. And I'll turn the power on, and you'll see there's an LED light comes on. So the next part of the process is to come along and to take the feed that's coming from the RF and feed it into the RF in here. Okay, so now what's happened is the RF feed from the skybox has come to this unit. It's being converted now to a SCART output. So what I'm going to do now is simply grab a SCART lead. Now this doesn't come with the kit, but it's a pretty standard product. And what we'll do is we come along, and I get the SCART lead here, I push it in here, and I take the other end of the SCART lead, and I simply insert it here into the TV SCART input. Okay, and now on the top of the television, I'm going to hit the source button, and I just come down till I get to the AV here, and I select this. Oh, sorry, I just come down actually to the SCART thing itself. Apologies here. And I just go here. And now we have it back on. So what's happened now is the RF output from the box has been converted by this unit into a SCART input. So we have it here. Okay? So that's it. So now we've successfully done the first part of what we want to do in this process, which is to be actually able to come along and remotely or to view this on SCART. So even if this television had a digital tuner, we could now view it. Now what we typically want to do is be able to remotely control this. So what we also have in this kit is we have this cable here, which I'm going to screw into the RF out. Okay, I'm just going to screw this in here like this. Okay, and I'll grab the other end of this cable and I'm just going to connect it to this Triax SkyEye. So once again, SkyEye here, and as soon as I connect it, you can see the LED light comes on the eye. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to grab the remote control, and you can see I'm actually changing the settings buttons here on it. Okay, now if I come along here and I actually turned off the power supply, which I can do here. Now, I can actually operate it from here, flick it back off. But if I come over here, well away from when in the off position, it won't change up or down for me now because I've turned off the SkyEye. But if I turn it back on, and now flick here, you can see it works again. So it's capable of having a pass-through for the SkyEye to work. Now if we had a set-top box, we'll say, in this case, this is actually a terrestrial box in a second location, but just say it was a satellite box, we could actually use a tri-link in conjunction with that to take the SCART output from that, turn it into RF and give it a 9-volt signal, and then use the UniLink to convert it back to SCART and take in the 9-volt signal from it. So it'll actually allow a box like this that doesn't have an RF output or a 9-volt output on it and actually be remotely controlled. So that's it anyway. Hopefully the overview I've given is given a fairly good idea on it. It's sort of a niche product, but there's definitely demand for it, and my own belief is that it's increasingly going to become, because a lot of people do have boxes and RF feeds around the house that are in analog, and they'll need to be able to continue to use them on televisions that have digital only tuners.